Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. The Phils tonight will start a series with the Washington Nationals. They're looking for their first series win of the year, still two series in. So we'll take a look forward at the series, the pitching matchups that are scheduled, the weather, because that's been such a factor for the Philadelphia Phillies early on in this season, and just an overview of what to look for. Also, the new City Edition jerseys for the Phillies have been revealed. I'm not a fan. I'm just not. Not a lot of you are either. And also, who needs to step up this weekend for the Philadelphia Phillies? All that on today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm Connor Thomas, your host. Thank you so much for checking us out. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use that code, all in lowercase, LockedOnMLB, for a first deposit match up to $100. Just a reminder, if you haven't heard it yet, we've got a new member on the Locked On Phillies team. Mark Farzetta is going to be running postcast for us, which is reactions to Philadelphia Phillies games immediately after, just like I used to do the reaction videos. I'll do it for some big games. Like if there's a big moment, I did one for Bryce Harper's 3-home run game. But if you hear Mark Farzetta on the feed, that's perfectly normal. He's a new employee at Locked On, and he's in addition to what we do here on the daily podcast. He also does it for other Philadelphia sports. So if you're a Philadelphia sports fan in general, he'll be helping out Locked On Sixers, Flyers, and Eagles as well. So just to keep you aware of what's going on here. Now let's jump into the upcoming series because the Philadelphia Phillies are still searching for their first series win of the year. They dropped their opening series 1-2 to the Atlanta Braves. They dropped this past series 1-2 against the Cincinnati Reds, 2 home series. So not a great start to the year. Now they go on their first road trip. They're going to Washington, then they're going to go to St. Louis, 3 games each of those spots before they come back home and face the Pirates later next week. But what we're focused on is the series with the Washington Nationals. Let's preview this a little bit. So the Nationals are currently 2-4, same record as the Philadelphia Phillies. Not ideal there to have the same record as the Nationals, but it's only 6 games. If the Phillies and Nationals finish this season even in record, I'll do something drastic. Like I don't know, shave my head, shave my eyebrows, something like that great. It's not going to happen, is the point. Please do not clip that. And geez, I definitely shouldn't have said that because now God knows the universe is going to make that happen. It's not going to happen. But you're playing them tonight and over the next 3 days. Tonight it's Aaron Nola against Patrick Corbin. I'm a little bit upset with the weather handling, and not just because of the long rain delay against the Reds, but if that game against Wednesday had been postponed to a later date than yesterday, well, you could have gotten Zach Wheeler against Patrick Corbin, which would have been the ultimate, like, what could have been matchup. Remember, Patrick Corbin was a hugely sought-after free agent the year that Zach Wheeler was a free agent. The Phillies didn't get Corbin. They ended up with Wheeler. And I'd say it worked out for the better for the Philadelphia Phillies. Wheeler has become one of the best pitchers in baseball. Corbin has become one of the worst contracts in baseball. But instead, you got Aaron Nola against Patrick Corbin tonight. Nola has not been good. One game, but he didn't have a good first start. And my main focus in this one tonight is, like, Nola, you got to go out and handle your business. It can't be another, like, rough, give up a home run, look rough. Like, people are going to attack him because of the contract. I don't think they should because we know he's talented enough. I got my take a look at this. The bobbleheads don't normally make an appearance, but I got an Aaron Nola bobblehead here as a giveaway from some game at some point in the past. But listen, I'm an Aaron Nola guy, but even if you're not, you can acknowledge the talent level of the pitcher, but you need to see the results on the field. This is a great opportunity with a Nationals lineup that isn't great. More on that in a second. But game 2, the pitching matchup is scheduled. Ranger Suarez against Jake Irvin. So you get to see Ranger go again, who had a really nice start against the Atlanta Braves, was the only starting pitcher who ended up, he didn't get the win, I don't believe, if I remember correctly. No, I think it went to like Matt Strom or something. But you have a great start from Ranger the first time out. A lot of high expectations for Ranger. He goes again. And then Christopher Sanchez, who also made a really nice start, will go against Mackenzie Gore. nice young pitcher for the Nationals who's got a lot of talent, but is still figuring himself out at the major league level. I mean, he's going to settle in to be probably a pretty solid pitcher. I don't know if he's there yet. So the advantage in all of these pitching matchups go to the Philadelphia Phillies. They just do. They have to. So pitching matchup, advantage. Now let's take a look at the leaders for these teams and just like the overall team stats. So right now, Bryce Harper leads the Phillies with 3 home runs. CJ Abrams leads the Nationals with 2 home runs. A little early in the year for these aggregate or average stats, but the Phillies have more pop in their lineup. You know what's funny? The qualified batter who's leading the Philadelphia Phillies in batting average right now is Kyle Schwarber. That's nuts, but yeah, his 280 is the only one that qualifies based on the amount of bats that you need to like be put into this. This is all on the ESPN app. CJ Abrams leading it for the Nationals. He's off to a great start, batting .333, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs. He's looked pretty darn good for them so far, and that's why he's also leading the Nationals with RBIs with 5. Bryce Harper has 6 RBIs to lead the Phillies. So let's take a look, right? Because all you're seeing is CJ Abrams. What is the overall kind of look at these teams? The Nationals are batting .257 as a team. The Phillies .223. It's been a slow offensive start for the Phillies. It has. I'm not worried about it yet, but it's something that needs to definitely improve. The Nationals have scored more runs. They've had more hits. The Phillies have had more homers, thanks to Bryce Harper's 3-homer game, but only by 1. OBP is better for the Nationals. Slugging percentage is better for the Nationals. Here's where it gets interesting, right? Their ERA as a staff is over a full point higher than the Phillies. Their whip is .33 higher than the Phillies. They've walked 10 more batters. They've struck out nearly 20 less. The opponent batting average is 33 points higher for the Washington Nationals than the Phillies. So the pitching staff for the Phillies has been significantly better than the Nationals pitching staff. But the offense for the Nationals has actually been pretty solid. Now, they started the season off, we know, with a series against the Cincinnati Reds, who you just played, and then they went ahead and they played the Pittsburgh Pirates. So it hasn't been a murderer's row competition, but the Reds played the Phillies too, and I think the Reds they were my pick to win the Central. I think they're a solid team. My point is they haven't seen a pitching staff quite like the one they're going to see with the Phillies when this series starts tonight. So I look at that and I say, Nationals good first 6 games of the year by their standard. Phillies bad first 6 games of the year by their standards. I expect those numbers to flip-flop over this series. We'll talk about who needs to step up as far as individual players, but I'll give you my expectation for this series just to preview it. It's not fair to say, oh, you got to sweep them, right? Because sweeps are hard to come by. Even playing the Nationals, they're a major league team. They've got the same record as you. This is not a competing team, but a capable team. They're not going to go 0 for 162. They can win baseball games. But I expect a sweep from the Philadelphia Phillies this weekend. If they don't, the baseline level is 2-1. You can't lose this series. You can't. Not that the season's over if you do, but that'll be panic button time for a lot of Phillies fans. And I don't frankly want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with my own kind of worry about the team. If the Phillies drop this series to the Nationals, this is where you go out and you get after a team that's not as good as you. So with that in mind, I expect a very strong weekend for the Philadelphia Phillies. We're also going to take a look at the weather down in Washington, D.C., because the weather has become such a factor for the Philadelphia Phillies early season schedule. By the way, the game times, 6:45 tonight, 4:05 p.m. tomorrow, and 1:35 p.m. on Sunday. So typical weekend times. Let me just pull up Washington, D.C. here on my handy-dandy Weather Channel app, and I'll be able to tell you whether or not we can expect any rainouts down in our nation's capital. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty solid down there, but let's flip to the daily. Today, 56 and cloudy, no rain, 19% chance. Tomorrow, 56 and slightly cloudy, 2% chance of rain. Sunday, 59 and mainly sunny, 4% chance of rain. No rainouts this weekend. Thank goodness. Tired of dealing with the weather, and we're only 6 games in, so all the games should be played on time. Shouldn't have any worry about that. Shouldn't have any worry about the conditions. Not going to be too cold. Go ahead and take care of business, all right? You should do this. And Yeah, I'll tell you when I talk about who needs to step up this weekend for the Phillies, I'll tell you about something that's fun that you expect at this point. And just a reminder, because it's been a while since this player has switched teams, but I think you have an idea of who I'm talking about there and who could be in for a big weekend. So we'll talk about that coming up and continue Locked On Phillies, though, with the jersey reveal that has not been well received by the Philadelphia Phillies fans. And I got to tell you, honestly, wasn't well received by me. We'll talk about the new City Edition jerseys as we continue Locked On Phillies. First of all, I want to tell you about Factor. Factor's awesome, okay? Factor meals are great. You can eat stress-free this spring with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. Every fresh, never frozen meal is chef-crafted, dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 options. They got a bunch of stuff, and they can do popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, Veggie, all of that stuff. There's a bunch of add-ons you can get. You can get started today and get ready to be fueled up for springtime. This is the time if you like to be in good shape for the beach. This is where you start cutting down. Factor will help you do that. It'll help you do that in the easiest way possible. Just to take you behind the curtain, sometimes we have products that I don't necessarily use personally. I'll try them out, and our good advertisers here on Locked On will send us samples and everything like that. So I'm not telling you something that I think stinks is good. I don't do that, and we have good advertisers here on Locked On. But Factor, I've known about them for years now. I used them before they were a sponsor. The meals taste amazing. I can't tell you how good this stuff tastes out of your microwave. Like, there's no way you should be able to put a meal in a microwave and have it come out and taste as good as Factor meals do and have it be as good for you. It's beyond science. Factor, I don't know how they do it. They got a lot of people way smarter than me clearly over there, but I can't tell you how affordable and how great this tastes. I'm not even reading off the copy that they gave us anymore. This is legitimately what I think from having Factor meals from before they even started advertising with Locked On. So you want to be like me, you want to hear what I'm talking about, you definitely do. It tastes amazing. Head to factormeals.com/LockedOnMLB50 and use code LockedOnMLB50. You'll get 50% off your first box, plus 20% off your next box. That's code LockedOnMLB50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnMLB50. And again, 50% off your first box, 20% off your second box while your subscription is active. You got to check it out. The guys over at Factor Meals are the absolute best. You don't know what you're missing until you try it, so don't miss. Try it. I also want to tell you about another one of our great advertisers. They all are, but I love Prize Picks. I do, because they're the #1 daily fantasy sports app in the United States of America. They're just amazing. They got more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less than on 2 or more player stats, and the winnings, you can watch them roll in. You get it right, you know what's going to happen. The Phillies are playing the Nationals. You know who to look at. Aaron Nola's throwing tonight. Does he bounce back? Take his more in strikeouts. And Bryce Harper, going back down to his old stomping grounds, take his more in hits. It's that easy. 2 picks, you can win on 2 picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and check out Prize Picks. You download the app today. You use code LOCKEDONMLB. You'll get a first deposit match up to $100. Again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. See, I wanted to lead off the show today with baseball talk. What's going on in the series, the preview, and the stuff that we actually care about. Because if the Phillies win the World Series, I don't think any of us are going to care what they're wearing when they do it. They could be playing in their slide shorts for all I care. If they're better than every other team in baseball, wear whatever jersey you want. But when you see a new jersey reveal, the goal for every fan base is to say, hey, great job. You represented the team. You represented the area the team represents. It's a cool-looking jersey, and we want to wear it. There have been some really good City Edition jerseys. I really love the Chicago White Sox City Edition jersey. I really love the Miami Marlins City Edition jersey. I think they're absolutely dope. You know what's not? the Philadelphia Phillies City Edition jersey. If you haven't seen it, go to social media, go to the Phillies main Twitter page. It's all over the place. They're rebranding it. Now they're going to wear these on Fridays throughout the season. So they're going to wear them. Next Friday will be the first time they wear them. Then they'll wear them. Friday home games will be when they wear these jerseys. And I know a lot of people worked very hard to make these jerseys a reality. The design team, the organization itself, like you got to work in conjunction with the league and everything and make sure you get everything taken care of and they're jerseys that are approved to be worn. I understand the effort that goes into them, but I reserve my right as a fan and someone with two eyes who can evaluate these things, as a lot of the fan base already has, to say, I don't like them. I don't. I'm sorry to everyone who worked on these. Sorry to the team. I love the Phillies. I don't love these jerseys. They're blue and like a yellow trim with this weird, like almost lightning bolt Declaration of Independence, hard to read font. They look like almost a men's league softball jersey that I would wear for my Sunday squad that I play with. And I don't know, man. It's not the best year for jerseys. We had the issue with Fanatics doing the see-through bad font, bad print jerseys for the season. Now we've got this is a miss on the City Edition jerseys. I can't imagine a place where like other City Edition jerseys become like the favorite jersey. Some, if you do it right. I can't imagine a world where we see blue and yellow jerseys at Citizens Bank Park. And it's not like, it's funny. The Red Sox did a blue and yellow jersey that I think mirrors their subway system or something like that, or their transit system. And that feels a little bit more like, oh, that connected with that city more. This is based on the color scheme of the flag of Philadelphia. I don't know how many people in Philadelphia even know what the flag of Philadelphia looks like. It, to me, is not a huge part of this city. I think to a lot of people, no one's walking around with that flag on their back. They want to see a Phillies-themed City Edition jersey. And my biggest issue with this, it's not that ugly of a jersey in a vacuum. If this was, I'm trying to think of a team that could wear this jersey that would fit with the color scheme, like blue and yellow. I don't know. If this was kind of like a Padres jersey or something like that, if it fit with the color scheme, like maybe if this was like a Blue Jays jersey, but this is the Phillies. The Phillies wear red. There's not a touch of red on this uniform. It doesn't feel like it's representative of the team. That's my biggest issue with it. It doesn't feel like it represents the team, and I know they're selling it as something that represents the true essence of the city of Philly because it's based on the flag. I don't know. I don't love it. The players seem to be okay with it. Bryce Harper apparently called him dope when he first saw him. I like Bryce Harper's pandering. Some of his style is not necessarily for me. I don't care. Who am I to critique someone's style? I'm in a plain black T-shirt right now if you're not watching on YouTube. But I just don't love him. The fan base doesn't love him. Large majority of the comments are negative. There's a handful of people who are like, oh, this is sick. I will say the hats are pretty cool looking, but I would kind of just rock the hat. And I don't think anyone would know, oh, that's a Phillies hat. They would just think it's a blue and yellow hat with the Liberty Bell on it. And that's the thing. It doesn't feel like it represents the team enough. It doesn't feel like it's rooted enough in the organization. And I understand representing the city, but it feels like the city vastly outweighed the actual team. And I don't think the essence of the jersey fits this organization. So that's my critique on it. I'm not a fan. I'm not looking forward to them wearing them. Maybe they'll look better in person. Maybe they'll just win every home Friday game, and then we'll fall in love with the jerseys because they win in them. But I can't help but look at these and say that's kind of an eyesore, and I'm being nice there. I'm trying to hold back from saying, like, oh, those are garbage jerseys. I burn them. Like, I understand people worked on them. Maybe they'll look cooler in person, but they do not look good to me. Let me know in the comments to this video if you like the new City Edition jerseys or not, because I'm going to be surprised if we get a large number of people who really enjoy the Philadelphia Phillies City Edition jerseys. But that's all right. It's just a jersey. Again, if they win, I don't care what they're wearing. So we move on. Coming up, we're going to wrap up today's episode with a conversation about who needs to step up this weekend. I've kind of mentioned a couple guys, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that as we wrap up today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Something that delivers every time, unlike the City Edition jerseys, is Robinhood. Robinhood's the best, right? Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, hey, that's my mom's birthday, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good, again, through April 30th. Get started at Robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024, validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. 3% matching on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Whoo, I am out of breath after those disclaimers. Go ahead and check out Robinhood. They're great. They'll do everything they can to help you out. And a good partner here on Locked On. This is a monster ad read Friday. It's also a monster weekend series for the Phillies if they want to calm down the fan base. And there are some really good players that need to step up. The number one guy that needs to step up in this series is Aaron Nola. Series go a lot of ways based on the starting pitcher in game one. And this time around, it happens to be one Aaron Nola, who was really rough against the Braves. Would he have had a rough outing against other teams? Honestly, the way he was spotting pitches, probably. I don't think that was just, the Braves lineup is unbelievable. He wasn't that sharp on top of that. But if he has that day against the Nationals, it might only be like 2 or 3 earned runs as opposed to really, really rough last time out against Atlanta. So I want to see Aaron Nola just keep the ball in the yard, spot the pitches better, settle in. Not worried about him yet, but I know the fan base had some hearty criticism of him after his opening start of the year, the second start of the season, and I don't think that you're going to like what you hear from the fan base if he struggles again. So Nola needs to step up. Harper's another guy that needs to step up, not because he's been struggling. He had a 3 home run game. I know he's fine, but he's a guy that when you go to Washington, he's been in that ballpark. He spent the start of his career there. He left there for here. This is like going back to a place where you know your ex is going to be, their favorite bar or like restaurant or something. You're like, there's a chance I could run into him. You know what you do? You don't go in there looking like a slob. You always go in, put on your best fit, make sure you got a good haircut and everything that like take care of everything. So they're like, damn. I'm mad that guy is with someone else. I'm mad that girl's with someone else. I'm mad that Bryce Harper is a Philly and not here in Washington. He normally shows up and shows out when they play the Washington Nationals. I need that again from him this time around, to set the tone. I also need Nick Castellanos to step up because people are starting to already get on him about his approach at the plate and stuff like that. I could use like a 3-hit or 4-hit series from Nick Castellanos down there in Washington, an extra base hit in there, maybe a homer. Like, he needs to kind of break through to make people feel good about the strength of this total lineup. So those are the 3 guys that I'm going to be looking at when it comes to players on the Phillies that need to step up this weekend. Again, I think they're winning at least 2 of 3. I'm expecting a sweep. When I say expecting, I mean that's what I think is going to happen. But as far as what I will accept, I'll accept 2 out of 3. That'll be good enough for me. That gets you to what? 4 and 5 to start the year. It's not ideal, but you're moving in the right direction at least. And you still got a very easy schedule for the next 3 months. So you're going to be in good position. You just got to start winning series. And if you don't win this one, we're going to have a very different episode on Monday. But enjoy your weekend, everybody. That's all for Locked On Phillies for this week. We'll be back on Monday with a new episode, or if things go terribly, might record Sunday and put that one out a little early. But my hope is it's a nice, comfortable, calm weekend. The Phillies take care of business, and we all have a happy weekend. So I'm rooting for that, for me, for you, for Phillies fans everywhere. And it's been a fun week. Thank you again for checking us out. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff. And I'll talk to you next week on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.